Let me tell you about what happened when I was younger. I know the story may seem made up to stay with me here. It was as true as the sky is blue. It was Halloween. Once my favorite holiday of them all. It all happened around 5 or 6 years ago. In our small, mountain town, everybody went nuts on Halloween.
And it was quite the sight to see. If you were not from town and you managed to get there on Halloween, then you'd feel like you were in some theme park of some sort.
I had neighbors that would pull out all the stops, decorating the house, the yard, and setting up little jump scares for the kids that would trick or treat. Skeletons as far as the eyes could see, witches and ghosts, coughing that would open as soon as you would walk past them. It was pretty cool actually.
I was about 16 and so were my friends. By that age we would consider ourselves almost adults, and in our mind we were too old to be trick-or-treating, but we loved the holiday, even though our souls remained young.
We all wanted to dress up in different costumes and scare people, but we'd think that the other kids, the bigger ones to be exact, would make fun of us. So all we could do is walk around at night, in our normal clothes, and see if anything interesting would happen. It wasn't as fun as what I mentioned before, but hey, what could you do? We thought that maybe we could trash some mailboxes while we were at it. That teenage rebellion was strong at that time, and we all wanted to look cool and do cool things. And that is what we saw in the movies, so we thought of emulating it. Anyway, one of them has had a pack of cigarettes, and even though we hate them now and think they're a disgusting habit, we decided to go to the park that was on the edge of town and light up there. We knew that no one would be there at that hour and we would be safe and none of our parents would see us doing it or we'd be in so much trouble. We got there and took a seat on a blue bench that was close to the swings. We each pulled out a cigarette from the pack, and as I was going to light it, something caught my eye a couple of feet opposite of us. The street light was busted and all I could see was a silhouette. I couldn't figure out if there was really somebody there or my imagination started to act wild. I told my buddies and we all got up and tried to figure out what it was. A few seconds later, the silhouette took a couple of steps out of the shadows. At first we were kind of creeped out. Maybe it was some kind of murderer or something. I forgot to mention that we watched a bunch of horror movies before we went out. But as soon as the guy came from under the darkness and we could see him clearly, we all started laughing. It was a guy dressed up in the most ridiculous clown costume I've ever seen. With the crazy multicolored wig, a flower pinned to his chest and the big red nose and everything. We even wore those oversized shoes. We all went to him. We were not bad kids, but as said, we were rebellious. We thought that anything that we didn't consider cool deserved to be made fun of. So that's just what we did. We started to call him names. We taunted him, asked if he was lost, and even walked up to him, took off his nose and threw it in his face.
while we were all laughing. We thought we were such bad asses because we were making fun of someone.
As we all did that, the clown, well, he didn't retaliate. It was really weird. He didn't even flinch. All he did was stand there, stare at us while all this time he maintained a large grin on his face. Sure, it may sound creepy now, but at the time we weren't scared. To be honest, the entire situation seemed stupid to us. Soon after all of that we all got bored and left the guy alone.
Having nothing left to do, we all went home. I was alone as my parents were out with my little sister, trick or treating. I loved it when I was alone. Finally, I could get some me time.
Without annoying parents that were always on my back and without my little sister who would constantly ask me stupid questions. Finally, I could be the king in the castle and do anything I wanted for a couple of hours. Feeling a little hungry, I went to the kitchen to make myself a snack, and when I opened the fridge, I saw something that was not supposed to be there. A small, red ball was sitting right on top of my food. Without even inspecting it, I took it out and threw it on the ground, thinking it was my sister's toy. Another reason why I was happy to be alone without my little sister. I went back into my room to enjoy my snack and watch a show on Netflix. My bed was all a mess, and in the middle of it, a small doll, looking right at me. I rolled my eyes. Again, I thought that my sister was playing in my room. She knew she wasn't supposed to go in my room. I got angry and threw the doll on the ground, and all of a sudden, without any warning, the lights went off. I went downstairs to look at the electrical panel, and as I turned the lights back on, I felt a hand on my shoulder. I thought that my dad came home and asked him why they didn't stay longer. He didn't respond, so decided to turn around. Turned around and there he was. The crazy clown guy from the park, laughing at me. I will never forget that laugh. It was so creepy and weird, like he was happy and sad at the same time. I froze and tried to punch him in my moment of panic, but he managed to grab my hand. While he was staring in my eyes with that black look and holding my hand, the next words came out of his mouth. "Naughty boys get punished," he said. He then grabbed me by the neck, and he was so strong that I couldn't do anything to stop him. He strangled me while maintaining eye contact and at the same time, showing me that creepy grin he always had. My vision was getting blurry, my brain was drained of oxygen, and I was about to pass out when the front door opened. They came at exactly the right time. It was my family, and upon seeing what was going on, my dad jumped in to save me. He put the clown to the ground and hit him several times. My dad was hitting him so hard, but you won't believe what the clown was doing. He was just standing there and laughing. My entire family was freaked out. My mom was terrified, and my dad told her to call the police, and after she snapped out of the shock, she took her phone out and dialed 911. My dad tried to contain him, but the clown was just too strong. While the police were on their way, the clown managed to push my dad away,
almost throwing him into the wall, and got out a knife that he probably had in those big pockets of his. My dad told us to stay back and he got between him and us. The clown pointed the knife towards my dad, but he was not looking at him. He was looking at me, straight into my eyes, like he was looking into my soul.
He then said, "Naughty boys always get punished, Michael." Immediately after that, he leaped towards the back door and opened it before he ran away. He escaped and none of us got hurt, but we all were a little shook up.
Unfortunately, the police never managed to catch him. There were just too many clowns on the street and they couldn't search all of them.
Besides, they thought that he might be gone by the time they arrived, hiding somewhere. They said that they will do the best they can to identify him, but that never happened. Until this very day, I never heard anything about him ever again. During that time, my dad would call the police almost every day to ask them about the clown, but the answer was always the same, that they don't know who it was. But you know the strangest thing about it? The strange thing was, he knew my name.